Hola chicos, bienvenidos a otra presentación gramatical sobre las construcciones con el pronombre se. Ok, para empezar, vamos a hablar, les voy a presentar este concepto por medio de descripciones, hablando de las partes del cuerpo, ¿no? Por ejemplo, ustedes ya han visto la boca, ¿no? Y las piernas. ¿Y para qué se usa la boca y para qué se usan las piernas? Se usa la boca para hablar, reírse, beber y comer, ¿no? Okay, as always, I like to focus on the meaning. I asked you some questions, I provided the answer. Now let's talk about the meaning, and then we'll get to the grammar. We know we're talking about la boca, and what am I talking about la boca? What la boca is used for. Is used, not just uses, or I use, you use, he uses, is used. That's what we're saying here. This is the passive voice, and why is that? Because of this. Simply putting this pronoun se, which has lots of different uses in Spanish, when you throw it on a third person form of a verb, it changes it to the passive voice. Por ejemplo, la boca es singular, entonces se usa para hablar. Las piernas es plural, entonces se usan para caminar, correr, bailar, hacer ejercicio, jugar al fútbol, etc. ¿No? So, legs, por ejemplo, plural, are used. That's what we're saying here, passive voice. We just throw on the pronoun say, make our verb plural. And again, we're using third person because las piernas is plural. And remember, verbs are not, I repeat, not plural by putting the letter S on. Nouns and adjectives are, but verbs become plural by putting in them in the first person plural form nosotros or the third person plural form ellos and ellas and ustedes. Otros ejemplos. En un contexto de la vida real, de la vida verdadera. En Argentina se usa la guardia. Se usa la guardia para emergencias, para citas medicales, para hablar con un médico, etc. ¿No? Vimos el video de Flash Cultura que nos presentó sobre la guardia en Argentina. Se usa. So again, la guardia is used for, or is used. They use. Actually, this is what we're saying as well. So we can use the passive voice is used, or they use the impersonal say, the impersonal voice, like you should study, you should go to class. That's like you in general, no one specific. They speak Spanish in Spain. They use the guardia in Argentina. No one specific, impersonal. Otro ejemplo. Se prohíbe fumar dentro del edificio. Y el significado es se prohíbe, ¿no? No se permite, es prohibido, ¿no? Se prohíbe fumar. And we all know what this means based on the context, based on life experience, which is super helpful when learning a language as a grown-up, as an adult, rather than a child. Using that life experience in that context, we know that this sign means no smoking. In Spanish, in the Spanish-speaking world, they use this impersonal say. It's prohibited, or the passive say. It's prohibited, or they prohibit. Por ejemplo, you can interpret it either way because both ways are correct. We just took the verb in the third person form. Prohíbe. Fumar is an infinitive. We keep them singular before an infinitive, and we just add on that say to change it to the passive or the impersonal voice. Otro ejemplo. No se permitan Mascotas, ¿no? No se permitan mascotas. Mascotas, plural. Permitan, plural, ¿no? Y no se permitan. What does this mean? We've never talked about the word mascotas, but because of context, because of drawing on outside experiences that you have as an adult, you can conclude that mascotas probably means pets, right? No se permitan mascotas. Pets are not allowed, or they don't permit pets. Passive voice or impersonal voice. So you can say se prohíben mascotas or no se permiten mascotas. Either way, it's conveying the same idea. Don't bring your pet in there. Se vende casa. This one you're going to see 100% in Spanish-speaking communities in the United States, Los Angeles, for example, even New York, possibly. You will definitely see this sign when you're traveling abroad in a Spanish-speaking country because what does this mean? Vende, we know what this verb means. We saw this verb in the clothing chapter, chapter 7, I believe. Say vende, to sell. And it's easy to remember because a synonym in English is vend, a vending machine, a vendor. For example, casa is singular, so we use the singular form of the verb. And really, this doesn't translate literally a house for sale or it doesn't translate as the impersonal or passive voice. But because we're not addressing anyone specific, we use that say. Se necesitan dadores de sangre. Empecemos con la gramática primero y después enfoquemos con el significado. Se necesitan, plural, dadores, plural, okay? Y se impersonal, no, or pasivo. So that's the grammar. We're noticing the pattern. You just put say before your verb, and in present tense, you make it singular by putting it in its third person form. Or you make it plural by putting in its third person plural form by adding that in. Now for the meaning. What do you think dadores de sangre means? Well, we know that this symbol refers to something that has to do with the medical world. What do you think sangre means? Some people may have tried una bebida alcohólica que se hace con el vino tinto en España. Se llama sangría. ¿Qué color es sangría? Sangría es roja. ¿Por qué es roja? Porque viene de la palabra sangre. Sangre has influenced the name of that drink, that wine, refreshing drink, chilled with, different ingredients that they serve in Spain and drink in Spain. Sangria comes from the word sangre. They're both red. What do you think sangre means when you put it back in the medical context? Something to do with blood. So what's needed here? Blood donors. Dadores comes from the verb dar, to give. Y mi favorita, se habla español most of the time. So this is a real sign. This is obviously in the United States, in a community where Spanish is spoken, and for marketing purposes, you would want to try to reach out to your Spanish-speaking community. We know the verb means habla, means hablar, means to speak. And so Spanish is spoken simply by putting that se in front of our verb and keeping it in the third person form, singular, because español is singular. Okay, so when is say used? This is not the first time we've seen the pronoun say. You can use say in a reflexive verb. Divertirse is reflexive, so when we conjugate that verb, we need to put that reflexive pronoun on. And when it's third person singular or plural, we use say. Otherwise, we'd use mete or nos, right? But there's other uses of say as well. So say has a variety of uses. It's not exclusive. The impersonal say va a la guardia, you or they. No one specific, just in general. They go to la guardia in Argentina. Or se usa, they use la guardia in Argentina. Or se habla español en España. Or se comen mucho arroz y frijoles in Centroamérica. So we can use say to indicate the idea that they eat, or even you. Se necesita ser cortés. You need to be polite. Por ejemplo, And then the passive say. So again, this is very similar to the impersonal say. It's grammatically identical. The difference is it changes to the passive voice. Se habla español is spoken. And again, with these conjugations, minus the first one, minus the use of say with a reflexive verb. With reflexive verbs, like todos los invitados se divertirán durante la fiesta, we have a specific subject there, the guests. However, with the impersonal and passive say, there is no specific subject. It's very general, very broad. We don't use tú hablas español en España, you speak, or tú necesitas hablar, or ellos hablan español en España. You can say los españoles hablan español in España, but more than just Spanish speak Spanish in Spain. So se habla, it's spoken. And then one other use, and I think I removed this from the test actually, but I do want to present it very quickly and cover, is the unplanned say, the accidental say. And this is when we use say, no matter who the subject is, and we do have a subject here, no matter who the subject is, we use say, because actually our subject, like the passive and impersonal say, is determined, its singular or plural form is determined by what we're talking about. Las pastillas is plural, so we're going to make our verb cayeron plural. But notice this is not the present tense. This is the past tense, irregular form of the verb caer. But in English, we would say, I dropped the pills. But in Spanish, I love this about Spanish. They don't take responsibility for their accidents half the time. They blame the pills. The pills dropped from me or fell from me, for example. So me is an indirect object pronoun. And that's how we use the accidental say or the unplanned say. Like instead of saying the dog ate my homework, we would just say the homework forgot me. Se me perdió la tarea, por ejemplo. And we use the preterite to explain those events that occurred in the past. Okay, so just really quickly, let's take a look at the uses of say in the following sentences, what the meaning is really and how it works grammatically. So, a los recién casados, en les is determined by whom we're referring. So that's why we have that in-person or that personal like a mí me gusta, or a Pablo y a Marcos les aburre la clase de historia or something like that. Even though we're not expressing opinions, when we have a plus a noun, a person, for example, we're going to use our indirect object pronouns, me, te, le, nos, or les. We're going to always use say, and then we're going to conjugate our verb in the preterite tense, either singular or plural form, third person. Se les cayó el pastel. ¿Y qué significa este cosita? No, se les cayó. That's how you would say that the cake fell, like, not necessarily on them, but they wouldn't take responsibility for knocking down the cake. A la mamá de Paco se le perdieron los antibióticos. Ok, empecemos con la gramática y después el significado. A la mamá, eso corresponde con la ley, ¿no? Y después antibióticos es plural, entonces determina la forma del verbo en el pretérito. Perdieron, plural, ¿no? Y siempre se le perdieron los antibióticos. ¿Y qué significa? In English, we would say Paco's mom lost the antibiotics. But in Spanish, the antibiotics were lost from her, is kind of what we're saying. So I love it because they don't have to take responsibility for the unintentional events that occurred. A la médica se le olvidó sacar la radiografía. You connect the dots grammatically. What's going on? Where does the ley come from? A la médica. Muy bien. And then olvidó, is that singular or plural, and why? Singular. Careful, chicos. It's not because of la radiografía, it's because of sacar. Infinitives. Even if we had multiple infinitives here, we would still and always use the singular form of the verb And then se is used to express that this was accidental. She forgot it. Se me olvidó la tarea, se me olvidó del examen, profesita. Anything that you forget. Ok, y tiene más práctica en el super sitio para ustedes y en clase, con mis clases cara a cara, face to face, we would do this activity. But that's all for now, folks. Muchas gracias y escríbeme si tienen preguntas. Hasta luego.